Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Will with the UNC Mountain Bike Club, and today we have a review on some Deity Skywire Bars. When I first started mountain biking about 2 or so years ago, someone told me there's this triangle of what you can get in a mountain bike part. It can weigh next to nothing, it can be inexpensive, and it can be really durable, but you can only have two. So with these, the two that you're getting is next to nothing weight relative to alloy bars, and well, really not even priced. They're kind of expensive for what bars are. The weight is 226 grams to be specific, and it retails for about 170 when compared to my alloy bars here cost $46. Pretty much on the dot. As you can tell, durability of carbon is great and not great at the same time. What I mean by that is this bar will never, ever, I don't care how strong you are, is never going to break from me trying to bend it. How carbon is designed, it's never going to break under like a lateral pressure. However, if you hit it with something such as this, carbon does break there, and that's kind of exactly what happened here. And so that leads me into my next point. Who would I say carbon bars are for? In my opinion, carbon bars are for somebody that wants to shave a couple, well, more than a couple, about 120 to 200 grams off of their bike, which may not sound like much, but when it comes down to it, every little bit counts when you're saving grams, and it makes climbing a little easier. So that's what I'd say they're for. However, as a product, these bars are great. I'm really upset that they're broken. They look cool, they match my bike, they come in a bunch of different colorways, and they feel awesome. But the only issue is that if you're a rider that likes to push it a little bit and you're not necessarily a pro level guy, eventually one day you're gonna do this. It's just kind of when, and that's the drawback. As far as the product goes, the Deity Skywires, I felt next to no hand pump on these, even at park laps at Windrock, Bailey Mountain Bike Park, gnarly trails out here like Greenslick, Black Mountain, Bennett. I mean, these things are just non-stop. Your hands, you're fine. You'll never experience anything with them. But if you're a bit of a dweeb and you sometimes ride like a dweeb, you're gonna break them one day. That means that if you're kind of reckless and you like to push yourself, I wouldn't run carbon bars. They'll break or they'll scratch. Which, in all honesty, I'm kind of lucky that they scratched instead of just snapping, because then I'd be stuck on the side of the trail with only one end. It would have been a very long walk down. In fact, I did this on Horseface. Horseface has probably got a pretty big toll on the amount of damage it's done in terms of money. How would I make these more durable? You can get helicopter tape. It sounds funny, bear with me. Helicopter tape off of Amazon, and just coat the face in it and kind of heat shrink it. Don't put it in the oven, use a heat gun, and you honestly can't tell it's there. And it's used similar to what an all mountain guard would be on your frame, but it's clear and it makes it look really glossy. And unless you know that it's there, you're not gonna be able to tell, and you're just gonna think it's a really glossy finish. In hindsight, because hindsight is 2020, that is how I would run carbon if I were to run carbon. So before you buy a carbon set of bars, please put some helicopter tape, some kind of protective tape on there, and preserve the life. Because in all honesty, this isn't that deep, right? But it was just enough to get through the gloss and into the carbon. If I had some protective tape on there, this wouldn't have happened, right? And I would be having to run alloy, right? And it's easy to replace. So let's say if the helicopter tape gets scratched, Well, that's easy. Just take it off. You can buy it 100 feet at a time for pretty cheap. Just put it back on, and you're good to go. Your bars are fine. Nothing's wrong. You can't even tell something happened. When I compare them to these bars, they're Race Face Effect bars. They're about what, $46? Yeah, $46. You can't tell the hugest difference. Only if you put in a lot of miles are you able to tell any kind of difference. I rode these for about 400 miles, about 2 months or so riding, and overall, like, there's not a huge performance difference. Like, they're fun, and I think the reason I like them a whole lot is because they look great. I'm a really big visual person. Yeah, so really what the key takeaway is here is that carbon's never going to break unless you smack it on something. So if your trails are kind of tight, you might want to cut them down, right? 7 to 780s, 770s, right? If your trails are a little more tight. Or if you're just an XC rider, you can cut these down to 750, 700, you know. The sky is the limit for how short you want these to be. And a big point for me on running alloy over carbon from now on is that it's not going to critically fail. I'm sure if you type up here in the search box, carbon bars fail, you'll just see tons of people just whoop, and their bar end snaps off and they eat dirt and they make their dentist's life a lot easier, right? So considering the fact that these are $170 and the performance of them is very, very, very marginal, here's what I would get instead. So if you want kind of like the most bang for your buck, like hand pump kind of thing, I would snag a pair of Sensus Meaty Paws. They're $32 off the Sensus website. You can get them a bunch of colors. They can match whatever bike you have, and they're they're a large bit bigger than most of your handlebar grips, and they have a lot of dampening qualities, which I love. Also, just having bigger hands. If you have big hands, Meaty Paws are the best thing since sliced bread. I cannot recommend these more to any rider. Every time I check out somebody's grips, I'm like, hey, check out these. 9 times out of 10, they're like, wow, those are great. I love them. I'm also just a big fan of Sensus grips. In general, they make really great stuff. And then to carry on, because you've only spent 32 of the 170 that you would have spent, is I'd get a high-end Maxxis tire with max grip. I'd opt for an Assegai in the front and a DHR2 in the rear if you want to. The softer material of the rubber is going to take out a lot of the harsher bumps that you'll feel coming through the bike. Just in my opinion, that's one thing I've noticed when running an Assegai in the front. And you still have about $30-ish left over. I'd get a shorter stem just to keep it within the realm of reason for, you're in the cockpit kind of area. So if you're going more for the bling side of it, I'd opt for an Industry 9 A35 stem. It runs you about $145, but the customization that you can put on these stems is insane. You can have it match any color you want, and it's a really short stem. You're gonna be very hard pressed to find a stem of higher quality. Industry 9 just makes great stuff. It's hard to go wrong with that company. And if you ever have an issue, they will go out of their way to help you. And if you're just dying for a pair of bars, Deity makes aluminum bars, about $80. That you can get them even in like raw aluminum, which are polished, and they look great. In fact, I would love to have some raw aluminum bars because you can't really see it in the camera, but I'm going for a silver kind of look on mine, and I think the bars look cool. Or you can get a Rinthal fat bar if you're just really into the, classy, like, ooh, look at my flashy bike. Rinthal bars are a great touch to your bike with the golder accents. So that's kind of all I have for these, overall, I liked them while they lasted. And I think that's the best summation of the bars. I wouldn't pay retail price for these again. I got these through a friend for about $80. So I got really lucky there. However, even if I did get these new, their warranty does not cover scratches or anything that doesn't clearly screen manufacturer defects. And that's a little disheartening because carbon is somewhat fragile when you're smacking things. And these are kind of your first line of defense against the dirt. So your bars are going to hit the ground before you do every single time, unless it's gone really south, you know? So I wish the warranty was a little nicer and that they would cover scratches and stuff like this. So yeah, I'm going to leave a link in the bottom for some helicopter tape. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good one.